Why be easy when you can just die? Woo! Well, I'm Chewy Mew, and welcome to my channel. Well, more specifically, welcome to me adjusting the camera. But even more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew review. Where today we're going to continue the process of reviewing every single figure I have left in my collection that I haven't reviewed up until this point. And the figure we're looking at today is my custom Ultimate Spider-Man here. I'm going to line this guy up. His legs are not the same length anymore. So this is using the ToyBiz Spider-Man Classics, what's it called? I forgot the name. I think it's called Street Fighting Spider-Man. I think that's what he's called. There's two versions. There's one where he has like a solid chopping hand like this, and he has a gimmick that when you pull it, he chops. And this one has a gimmick where he had a thing where you twist his waist and then he punches with an arm, which is kind of dumb. And my dog got this figure, and she managed to break the shoulders. Like, she managed to break the shoulders, which I think one of these was already broken. And then she chewed up the legs. And so I decided just to cut the legs and try to fix them. Definitely not my cleanest job ever. But admittedly, I don't really care too much about Ultimate Spider-Man, like, at all, basically. Especially because he dies. Spoilers, Ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker dies. It's not the main universe. The main universe is called 616. But yeah, so I don't care too much about the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. Or just the Ultimate Universe in general. But either way, so I didn't try my hardest with this custom. Pretty much all it is just repainting the figure, including the blues, reds, the eyes and stuff. And then getting rid of that leg joint thing, or getting rid of that leg part where my dog destroyed it. But also, it was a little bit convenient as well the way she destroyed it. The legs didn't come out completely symmetrical, which I could probably fix. I could just add a little bit of dried paint to the bottom of this foot, and then he'd be straight like that. But no, he's a little bit crooked. Is that crooked, or am I just crazy? I might just be crazy. I don't know. But let's pretend like I'm not crazy and it's actually crooked. I could probably just add some like dried paint to the bottom of this foot and it would line up. But yeah, the way she damaged it was she destroyed the legs. And so that's a little bit convenient, like I said, because his legs were a little bit too long. Like this guy, it's supposed to be a younger Peter Parker. Like this actually is younger Peter Parker. People always say, well, why does Spider-Man look like that? He's supposed to be like 15, isn't he? Well, this Spider-Man is actually 15. This one, at least in my headcanon, this is not a 15-year-old Peter Parker. This is like a full adult Spider-Man. You can see they're close to the same height. This guy should be a bit shorter. Like he should be like about that height. Because he's, or maybe he should, I don't know. Because people usually stop growing around the age of 17 or 18. So yeah, he should be a little bit shorter than this guy. But this guy, because his long legs, he was like about this tall. He was pretty tall. So we're gonna put that guy aside for now. So then I decided just to cut the rest of the leg off, the part, because it had dog bite marks on it. So I just cut it and then I sanded it down so that I could super glue these back together. And it didn't mess up the articulation part too much. It did a little bit because she got like a lot of the leg. So that makes him shorter and he actually fits. His legs are loose, but since this guy doesn't really have an ab crunch or much, like, I mean, the leg's pretty much perfect ToyBiz articulation. And then the arms, like, you know, they don't have finger joints, but either way. But since he's less articulation compared to something like, you know, this guy, it's not too big of a deal for me because he has, it's not too big of a deal if his legs are a bit loose, considering I'm mostly going to have him, like, kind of standing there or something, you know. He's not going to be doing any sort of, like, mid-air poses. But as far as it goes, it's mostly just repainting the red. The original red, if there's, like, any parts, yeah, to fix his arms because they broke as well. These are probably some of my better arm fixes because they don't fall off when I rotate them. I'm trying to see if there's any, like, original red. Like, the neck, you can kind of see it in there a little bit. Like, some of this neck is the original red. So I just painted the red parts a different shade of red. And then I took a tool, like a needle tool, and then I just kind of carved out the web lines. They're not the most visible, but you can kind of see them a bit. He also has really big feet and hands and big head because that's how the Spider-Man was designed. And then I repainted the blue, and the original blue color is kind of like, it's that color right there, which I don't think looks too good for Ultimate Spider-Man. He's typically drawn with a darker blue like this. So I painted that on there. One of these wrists is broken. Yeah, this wrist is broken here. And so then you may see here, I tried adding a bit of a cel-shaded look to it, kind of like how he is in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game, where the places that came out the best, it didn't really work here on this side. Oh, so this is before I figured out how to paint in web lines. by painting this kind of detail. So I just took a brush and I painted this part deliberately. What I would do now if I were to remake this custom is I would just paint this whole section black. But first, to this blue part, I would add a finish. I'd probably add several coats of finish so this paint doesn't scratch off, because I could probably scratch off this paint if I, like with a tool, if I tried. And then I'd paint this part black and wipe it away so it would have detail. It does kind of have the detail still, but this part's not too noticeable. On the back spider logo, I pulled a Hasbro, and I didn't do the best anywhere else. The arms, I didn't really do it too much because, you know, whatever. And on the legs, it looks kind of terrible too. Like, I think Hasbro broke into my room. They possessed me and made me do this. So, you know, you blame Hasbro for this. But I made this, like I said before, I knew how to paint web lines. This is a pretty old custom, like over a year ago. Pretty long time ago, and I never showed it off just because, like the rest of these figures over here, I just never got around to doing that. But either way, as far as that goes, it's pretty lackluster, pretty bare bones custom. Basically, it's pretty much only a repaint, fixing the arms, shortening the legs pretty much, and then repainting the head. I did repaint the eyes. You can kind of see where the line for the eyes on the mask right there is, and I painted the eyes bigger. I'm terrible doing stuff symmetrically, but doing that makes the eyes look a bit bigger, because the original one, they looked a little small for Bagley's the one that drew Mark Bagley's the one that drew some of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and he drew the eyes really big, you know. This is not quite. It's a bit closer. The other ones were a bit too small. They're still big for Spider-Man eyes, but they're not like huge, enormous eyes like they should be, you know. But yeah. So I think overall it looks fine. I think it's definitely probably one of my weaker customs. I think I definitely have some not so good looking customs. Some of my customs look phenomenal, you know. Like something, for example, my custom Iron Spider that I'm going to review. That one looks really cool. Or like my custom Shriek. Some of my customs, Demo Goblin as well. Some of them look really good. Then you have some like this that they're fine. I mean, you know, for like if I was just like a regular amateur custom, like one of my first customs, it'd be good. But having been doing this for like about 2 years, making customs, maybe longer, this is definitely probably one of my weaker customs. I should do a top 10 worst customs I've ever made, and also top 10 best customs I've ever made as well. But as far as it goes, let's take a look at the articulation here. So the head can't look up. That's seriously all he's got. He can look down barely. He can rotate the head all the way around. He does have a ball joint in the neck, which doesn't really offer a ton of movement. The arms go up about this high. This one goes up higher for some reason. I did cut plastic here to make the arms go up higher when I had to fix the shoulder joint. As you can see, there is a bicep swivel. It's a lot smoother when it's not broken. Double bend in the elbow. And then this wrist is broken here. This guy suffered a lot of damage. And then he has a rotation here in this other wrist as well. Or he has it too, but that one's broken. You have a waist swivel here, which also, another thing, I did cut the figure open, and it resulted in the legs getting loose. They hold a pose when you move them like that. When you move them together, they don't. I don't know, that's kind of dumb. Fixing legs, like tightening legs and shoulders is the worst thing ever. I could put glue dots there, but I'll probably do them after this. He did have a gimmick here, and he had a button on his back that I cut off the button, and also painting this kind of hides it, where when you would bend him, you bend him like this, and then he would punch. He had like a spring-loaded waist, and I removed that. I removed the whole gimmick and stuff, so it is a bit loose in the waist, but that allows him to rotate without having that joint in the way. The legs can kick up this high. They can do the splits, so that's pretty cool. The legs go back. They actually go back all the way. Wow, so you can have him do the splits like this. His knees don't bend all the way anymore because of the way I had to fix them, but he can do the splits like that. You have a rotation here at the top of the ball joint. You get a double bend in the knee, which is pretty much perfect, and that one is kind of broken. I think it was already like that. I don't think I broke it just now. You get perfect double bend in the knee, rotation here at the start of the boot, and the foot goes all the way forward, all the way back. That's pretty extreme. And then you have like a decent ankle pivot. I think this one was also modified. Or no, it wasn't modified. That's just how it looks. Then the toe bends up. This one bends up, and this one also bends down. This one does not bend down because the way ToyBiz sculpted the plastic. And on the bottom of the foot, his foot says 2003 or just 03, Marvel Entertainment. This one says ToyBiz Worldwide, made in China. And I drew peg holes on the bottom of his feet, or I drilled peg holes on the bottom of his feet because the original one didn't have them. And so now, having these modified feet, if we put these like this, you can plug his feet into the base. These holes are a bit they're not perfect. They're not perfect. Like I said, I didn't try too hard with this custom. I tried a bit, but I didn't put like a bunch of effort. This took me like about maybe an hour and a half to make this custom. I know that may seem like, what, an hour and a half to make a custom like this? How does it take you so long to do that? The reason is making a custom is not as easy as just take a paintbrush, paint it, and then done. No, you actually have to put effort into it. You know, it's not as easy as you might think. There's actually a lot of stuff that goes into it, and the fact that I had to fix a bunch of broken joints in the process, that definitely made it take a lot longer as well, you know. Yeah, these peg holes are too tight for the feet, or the peg holes are they're too small for this display base. This is a custom base, but you know, still, these come out so I can, you know, change the position. But either way, as far as that goes, I think this custom is okay. It's definitely not one of my best works. As far as painting the red, it looks decent. Like, on the camera, it looks pretty good. In real life, it does look a little bit cleaner, or looks a little bit cleaner in real life. I feel like the web lines, and the camera doesn't do it justice. But as far as that goes, I think it's fine. But either way, let me know what you think about this custom, and I will see you guys in the next review. All right, so I'm back. So I went and I tightened his leg joints here. So now they're not floppy. When you kick them forward, they hold a pose. This one doesn't hold it quite as good. And I just put glue dots, the classic glue dots to save the day. So when you kick the legs forward, I don't know why, but when you kick them, the other one drops. But when you kick them forward, they stay in position. I'm not holding them anything. They do flop down a little bit, but that's fine. And then this one kicks forward. It does go down a little bit. No, it doesn't. Okay. So yeah, so that way I just kind of tightened them up with glue dots. Shout out to glue dots. Definitely the best item ever when it comes to customizing. But either way, that's all for this video. Let me know what you think about this custom, actually, and I will see you guys in the next video. Wow.